Yeah, let's keep going, guys.
Great idea, I'm gonna probably like, yeah, people are gonna hate me after the show or something. But
Can I have a mojito?
She needs a mojito, guys.
Oh, sorry.
All right, bone marrow.
oh, for the luge?
This is for the luge. So you gotta eat all the bone marrow first, and then you luge. Then you luge.
Once again, it is that time.
What are we doing, man?
Fried
Yeah, now we got
fucking
bone marrow
oysters,
here.
dude. Fried oysters.
I feel like the narrative people don't talk about so much when it comes to Fort Wayne, especially in this industry, is kind of that talent that floats around. Like, obviously we're enjoying nice, fine food at Copper Spoon, but those who know, it's like, that's an Aaron Butt's signature dish.
Hey, this is the 24-ounce porterhouse, also from Wood Farms. And your sides are right behind me.
And if you've been to the Golden, you know that he brought that signature here. And, you know, Johnny Perez, like, let's take you for example. It's like, you started out Biaggi's. You grew into the Obi-Kai industry, but also, like, you branched out. You were an extension of what you learned there and decided, like, oh, like, I've learned enough here that I can grow in my own right. I feel like that goes back into the scene of, like, we're not just following food, we're following entrepreneurs, we're following like actual people who are trying to change Fort Wayne one dish at a time. It's like pretentious as that sounds, but it's like, it's true, so.
Oh, shit.
There's a steak knife for you for this. It's a little easier to cut.
Tell us about this white asparagus. What's so significant about white asparagus?
So asparagus, as soon as it starts poking its little head out of the soil, they'll keep covering that to keep it out of the sun.
Okay.
So it doesn't photosynthesize, develop chlorophyll, which would turn it green.
Okay.
So it's basically grown in the absence of light.
How does that change the flavor of the asparagus?
It's a little more delicate, a little less green. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, how you can like
actually,
taste
for
green. Yeah.
That the plating on this is to me like a big city.
Yeah.
Like when you talked about like it's not a protein. It's not. You're right. It's a vegetable, but the highlight of this is that vegetable. And I don't think that concept is Fort Wayne. I think that concept is like Chicago, New York City, and stuff like the big metropolises around us. And I think they're starting to come closer to us, which is really, really dope.
That's what the scene is, you know? Industry insiders know about it. And so, like, we know to appreciate these dishes, and we would pay whatever money it would take to have these dishes and have this experience. So to me, like, that's the scene. Like, people looking inside of, like, this bubble of who we are.
It is a bubble.
Yeah,
it's a bubble.
it's a little bit of a bubble, right? And so, like, looking inside to, like, who we are, it's appreciate what's on your dish, you know, and appreciate all the little components that make it, even if it's not what you expect. And I feel like the whole scene is really just going to, like, this idea of delicate flavors and, you know, well-plated dishes.
Like, everyone thinks fine dining is like a linen on a table, 7 different types of forks based on what you're eating. Yeah. So, like, what is like the new age of dining now? Like, because you can eat fine, you know what I mean, now without necessarily like really stiff environment. Like, what is dining like now, and like what are you trying to do?
I mean, I think fine dining is obviously like menu-driven, chef-driven, but it doesn't have to be stuffy. You don't have to have the waiter and the sommelier. I think this is becoming a little more relaxed, but not with the people's like knowledge or skills. Like when you walk in the door and you look around, you're like, oh man, this place is swanky, you know? But in all actuality, like the service is very professional, but also very friendly, relaxed, comfortable. You can sit down and like, oh man, this is nice. And we're all here to have fun, but we all have the same purpose to put out excellent product, excellent service, and get people to come back in the door.
I don't play by the rules. I'm so passionate about this business, but a guest coming in the door is like a guest coming into my own house. You know, again, it goes back to the music, the lighting, the flowers, the food. Everything's got to be perfect. And I am there to facilitate that, right? You know, I had a guest in the other night. She actually came 2 nights in a row. The second night she had the ribeye, but all day long she thought about the parsnip puree that she had the night before. So after she shared that with me, I took her a little cup of parsnip puree. It's the little things that matter.
For sure.
Always the little things. It's the details that nobody ever really thinks about coming into a restaurant, but it should be everything that we think about.
But it's like, to me, it's
for
like
them.
that's like the hospitality, right? Of like
Yeah.
just being
For sure.
hospitable towards that guest, of like literally
sure.
trying to showcase them the things that you think are really unique that they're asking about, but being there for them like in a hospitable way. We talked about that like with like Fort Wayne being so hospitable, and I do think that it is very much like a hospitality focused more than it is like what's on the plate, what's in the drink. It is like about how do we accommodate our guests.
Love watching Fort Wayne grow and thrive, and I like being a part of the food scene here. I like these new restaurants, new chefs popping up. I think we've got like a great group, great community of cooks and servers and bartenders. That's sometimes diluted in bigger cities, you know.
We talked about moving to bigger cities all the time before we opened Mercado, and once we realized what we had in front of us, this market that was just ready for like young entrepreneurs, for people who were excited about their passions, then we thought, why would we ever leave?
Fort Wayne is incredibly welcoming and like local, like big time. We're very, very supportive of like local restaurants, local people opening restaurants. I think that is like the biggest strength of us is like, I won't say like strength in numbers, but like strength in community almost. Like, I don't feel like that local sport is just industry driven. I feel like it's in lots of industries, you know, like lots of different places that are using those local purveyors to make sure that they're like keeping that like a homegrown operation.
So like, what do you feel like is like your campaign, I guess, for food in the area?
You know, I just make good food, you know, honest food. Nothing, no shortcuts, not covering anything up. Really letting like the ingredients shine is a big kind of thing I instill in a lot of my cooks. Like, don't mess around with it too much, you know, especially you get like great local produce, great meat, you know, let that be the star. I think younger cooks have more of a voice now, which is cool. I think chefs are more into hearing their ideas and watching them grow and come up with new things. You know, I try to foster that in all these guys that are here. You know, do something. You know, even if it's a bad idea, it's an idea. You know, I think they appreciate the fact that they can have ideas. And if you want me to get some product in for you, I'll get whatever you want. Let's mess around. You know, I like seeing people have a dish that makes it on the menu.
All right, so I think the future of dining is that full service dining with like a server or whatever, it's gonna actually be kind of rare. I think like if you're gonna have like someone literally waiting on you, like it's gonna be ultra like fine dining in a sense for a lot of people.
So as owners, I feel like we've had a lot of ideas of livable wages, and so we have to consider like what do people need in this industry to go ahead and survive and create a career out of this. And so we have to consider those things.
You know, 5 years ago, we talked about where we were 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we had the Golden and we had Wine Down. Those were the two cocktail bars in my mind, in essence, right?
Fair.
And now, and this is something that I've talked about, like when I look back at the Golden, is that like all those people that left the Golden, like they opened other places. They went off and they ventured these things, and like that passion that came from the Golden, like stayed with us. You know what I mean?
Passion
So
breeds
yeah,
passion.
for sure. Yeah, I really do think so.
I think people do want to have that hospitality, but I think that the goal for the end is to make sure that the people that are servicing you also improve their life and their income. And the only way to leverage that is to improve the services for them as well, and not just for the guests. So I think that's what the future looks like.
Well, this isn't going to be quite as long as Spencer's.
You're kidding.
Wow.
Hopefully, like the young culinary talent is like learning and ambitious and talent to open stuff. I like to see talent coming back to Fort Wayne from other cities. So like these talented people coming back home is like a good sign. It's cool. And they have aspirations, you know, they want to do stuff. And you might have never heard of these people, but you will. You will, for sure. For sure.
I have to say this. Sitting down at a dinner table is something that a lot of people take for granted. There's important stuff going on at that table. It's not just about the food and drink. It's about the camaraderie. It's about maybe a love, maybe family, maybe connecting with your children. You're going to have some of the best conversations at a breakfast table, lunch table, dinner table. I encourage everybody to sit at a table and break bread together, always. Fucking love this business.